The night opens with a hush. A deep velvet sky stretches wide, and above it, a thin crescent moon glows like a silver boat drifting across a dark sea. The stars shimmer faintly as if whispering to one another in secret tones. The air is cool, carrying the quiet scent of desert sand, warmed through the day and now breathing its heat into the softness of night. You stand at the edge of an ancient temple courtyard. Stone walls rise around you, not sharp or severe, but weathered and gentle, as if the centuries have taught them patience. The stones hold the memory of many prayers. They remember voices that once filled these spaces, voices of women who sang to the moon, who lifted their faces to the night sky, who guided their people with songs that felt like water flowing from another world. Inside this temple lived the moonlit priestess. She was not alone, though she often seemed to stand apart, her presence like the moon itself, distant, shining, yet deeply connected to the tides of life below. The people of Mesopotamia looked to her as a bridge between heaven and earth. Her steps were slow and deliberate, her eyes reflecting the pale glow of the moon. As you drift deeper into this vision, the courtyard begins to fill with sound. Not sudden, not loud, but soft as a breath. The rustle of linen robes brushing against the stone, the gentle ringing of bronze vessels being touched together, like distant bells calling out to the night. Candles and oil lamps are lit, one by one, until the temple seems like a cluster of stars fallen to earth. Their golden flames flicker, blending with the silver of the moonlight above. The priestess moves into the center. Her robes are white, threaded with faint lines of blue that catch the light. In her hands she carries a bowl of clear water, drawn from the river earlier that day. To her, water was not only water, it was the mirror of the heavens. The river carried the stars in its ripples. The bowl carried the moon in its surface. As she lifts it high, the people bow their heads, for they believe the moon sees them more kindly through her. Her voice rises, soft and low, like the first notes of a lullaby. She sings in words older than memory, a hymn to the goddess of the moon. Sin to some, Nana to others. Her song is not only a sound, it is a rhythm, a breath that joins with the pulse of the earth. Each note lingers, floats, and dissolves into the night like smoke from a quiet fire. The people close their eyes. They let the sound wash over them. It feels like standing beside a river at midnight, the water moving endlessly, carrying their burdens away. You feel yourself drifting as though the hymn is not sung in the temple alone but in your own chest. The tones vibrate softly within you, loosening what was heavy, calming what was restless. The moonlit priestess does not speak of power or command. She sings of cycles, of time moving like the phases of the moon, of endings that lead gently into beginnings. She speaks through her song of the waxing moon, when light returns after darkness, when hope is born in fragile crescents of silver. She sings of the full moon, a circle of light that blesses the crops, the rivers, the children in their sleep. She sings of the waning moon when the light fades but does not vanish, reminding all that even in decline, beauty remains. And she sings of the dark moon, the hidden time, when silence holds the seed of tomorrow's light. Every phase, she reminds them, has its place. Every life, like the moon, shines and fades and shines again in another form. The people breathe in this rhythm. They do not fear the darkness of night. They do not fear the quiet of endings. The moonlit priestess teaches them that all things are part of one gentle circle. The sound of drums begins now, low and steady, like the slow beating of a heart. Women move in a circle around her, their steps measured, their arms lifted toward the sky. They wear strings of shells that clink softly as they sway. The priestess pours the bowl of water onto the ground, letting it soak into the earth. The moon's reflection disappears from the surface, only to live again in the wet soil below. It is an offering, a way of saying, what is above is also within us. The heavens bow down to meet the earth. You notice the sky shifting. The moon climbs higher, its silver glow brightening. Shadows stretch across the stone floors of the temple, lengthening like slow rivers of darkness. The people watch, their faces calm, their bodies at rest. For them, the moon is not far away. Through the priestess, it feels close, like a mother leaning over her sleeping child. The night deepens. The chants soften. Oil lamps flicker, their flames dancing in the breeze. The priestess kneels now, her hands pressed to the earth. She speaks in a whisper, words you cannot fully understand, yet you feel their meaning. She prays not only for her people, but for balance, for rains when they are needed. for mercy when times are hard, for peace in the hearts of those who carry sorrow. Her prayer drifts upward like smoke rising to the stars. You are quiet. You are still. You breathe with the rhythm of her song, with the beating of the drums, with the slow arc of the moon above. Everything moves together, the earth, the sky, the people, the priestess, woven into one great fabric of night. In this moment, you sense what the ancient people felt, that the world is not divided into separate parts, but joined by threads of light. The moon is tied to the river is tied to the people are tied to their prayers, and all of it is held in the arms of the divine, like a child cradled in the softest embrace. The hymn fades. Silence grows like a gentle tide, filling every corner of the temple. The people bow low, their foreheads touching the earth. The priestess rises slowly, her face calm, her hands open, her eyes reflecting the pale light above. She turns toward the courtyard, where the desert stretches wide and endless. She sees the horizon, the place where the sky bends down to kiss the earth, and she knows her song will travel far beyond these walls. The people begin to leave, quietly, their steps soft against the stone. They carry the memory of her voice with them, like a flame hidden in their hearts. They will dream of the moon tonight and wake tomorrow with a little more peace. The temple empties, yet the night is not empty. The air itself holds the echo of her chant, the shimmer of her presence. Even now, if you listen closely, you can feel it, like a faint vibration beneath the silence, like the hum of a distant river you cannot see but know is there. You breathe slowly, deeply, resting in that quiet hum. The moon remains patient and eternal. It watches from above, as it always has, as it always will. Its light softens the stones, softens the shadows, softens the edges of thought within your mind. The moonlit priestess walks to the edge of the temple. She stands beneath the sky, robes whispering around her ankles. She closes her eyes, lifts her face, and simply breathes. The night breathes with her. The stars shimmer. The earth rests. Time itself seems to slow, as if the universe leans closer, listening. And in that slowness, in that breath, in that moonlit peace, you drift. You drift like the silver crescent across the sky. You drift like the water pouring into the soil. You drift like a child carried in the arms of the divine. The priestess remains standing watch as the temple sleeps, and you too may rest now under her gentle care. The stars keep their vigil. The moon carries your dreams, and the night holds you in endless safety. Now let the silence grow deeper. Let the silver light soften your mind. And let us drift onward until the next story begins. The night has deepened. The air is cool, touched with the faint breath of water. Somewhere close, a river moves. Its voice is gentle, flowing endlessly, steady as a mother's lullaby. This is the Nile, a river as old as memory, a river the ancients called the gift of life. Upon its banks stands a temple. Its walls rise tall and wide, carved with images of gods and stars, of birds spreading their wings across endless skies. The moonlight brushes the stone, making every line glow faintly silver. Lamps burn at the gates, their flames swaying in the night wind, like golden flowers bending toward the river. Within the temple, all is quiet. The air is heavy with the scent of lotus, and smoke curls upward from incense bowls, drifting like pale ribbons into the darkness above. The sound of footsteps is soft. Linen rustles, voices murmur, then silence again. This is the house of Isis. Here, women serve the goddess, not as queens, not as rulers, but as guardians of her mysteries. They are called the daughters of Isis, and their presence is as gentle as water, yet as enduring as the river itself. The goddess they honor is the mother of all. Isis is the healer, the protector, the one who gathers what is broken and restores it to wholeness. She is the divine mother, the wife who mourns, the sister who searches, the friend who stays. The daughters carry her name with reverence, each act of service a thread woven into her eternal story. You drift closer, stepping softly through the great hall. Tall columns rise like a forest of stone. At their tops, bloom-carved lotus crowns, holding the ceiling like flowers lifting the sky. Shadows dance across the walls. Every space feels alive, as if the stones themselves breathe. At the center of the hall stands an altar. Upon it rests a small statue of the goddess, her face serene, her hands open, her crown crowned with the shining disk of the sun framed by horns. Around her, offerings are laid: jars of honey, loaves of bread, figs, wine, and bowls of fresh flowers gathered from the riverbanks. The scent of these offerings mingles with the incense, filling the temple with sweetness. The daughters of Isis begin to gather. Their robes are white, simple, flowing like river foam. They wear necklaces of beads that glimmer faintly in the lamplight. Their hair is braided with threads of gold. They move without hurry, their steps quiet, their faces calm. One daughter carries a vessel of water drawn from the Nile at dawn. Another carries a flame from the sacred hearth. Another holds a basket of papyrus scrolls, inscribed with hymns. Together, they form a circle around the altar. They bow their heads, and silence blooms like a flower opening in the dark. Then softly the singing begins. The voices rise, low and steady. It is not one voice, but many, flowing together like the river itself. They sing of Isis as mother, who nursed the child Horus with milk sweeter than honey. They sing of Isis as seeker, who searched across the land to gather the scattered pieces of Osiris, her beloved, and who with her magic brought him back to life. They sing of Isis as healer, who whispers words that mend wounds and restore breath to the weary. Their song moves slowly, gently, as though it were woven with moonlight. The temple listens, the river listens. Even the stars seem to lean closer, shining more brightly as if to hear. You breathe with the rhythm of the hymn. Every note is soft, yet full. Every sound is round and flowing, without edge, without sharpness. It feels like being cradled. It feels like being held. The daughters lift their hands as they sing, palms open to the sky. Their sleeves fall like waterfalls of linen. The light catches on their bracelets, sending small flashes of gold into the night air. They sway, not hurried, but slowly, like reeds bending in the breeze. Their steps form a circle, round and unbroken, a mirror of the eternal cycle of life. One daughter steps forward. She carries the vessel of water. She lifts it above her head, and the others fall silent. The water shimmers in the lamplight, catching the reflection of the goddess's face. With care, she pours it into a shallow basin at the base of the altar. The sound is soft, like rain falling on leaves. The water is a prayer. It is the Nile itself, the river that feeds the earth, the river that carries memory. By offering it back to the goddess, they return what was given, as children return love to the mother who gave them life. Another daughter steps forward with the flame. She lowers it to the altar, lighting a cluster of oil lamps. Their glow blooms warmly, joining the silver light of the moon above. Fire and water now stand together, opposites woven into harmony, as Isis herself wove life and death, grief and love, into one. The hymn begins again, softer now, like the fading of a dream. The daughters sing of rebirth, of how the sun sinks and rises, of how seeds fall and sprout, of how death is not an end, but a turning, a folding back into the circle of life. You drift into their song as if it were a current. Your body is still, yet your spirit feels as though it floats upon the Nile, carried slowly through calm waters under the watchful gaze of the moon. You see papyrus swaying along the banks. You see birds resting with folded wings. You see stars reflected in the black surface of the river, as though heaven itself had leaned down to rest in its depths. The daughters of Isis are not only singers, they are healers. In the quiet of the temple, they tend the sick and the weary. With herbs and whispered prayers, they soothe pain. With songs, they calm the restless. With gentle hands, they remind the wounded that they are not forgotten. They believe every act of care is a reflection of their goddess. When they cradle a child, they see Isis cradling Horus. When they comfort a grieving heart, they see Isis mourning Osiris. When they bring water to thirsty lips, they see Isis bringing life to the world. Every gesture is sacred. Every touch is prayer. The night deepens. The lamps burn steadily. The incense smoke rises higher, curling toward the stars. The singing fades into silence once more. The daughters stand in stillness, their circle unbroken. For a long moment, nothing moves. Then, one by one, they lower themselves to the ground. They kneel upon the stone floor, foreheads touching the earth. They give thanks to Isis, to the river, to the breath of life itself. Their silence is as powerful as their song, for in the stillness they listen, and in the listening, they feel the presence of the goddess move through them. You linger in this silence too. It feels like a blanket, heavy but comforting, wrapping around the body, settling the heart. You feel the calm of the temple seeping into your own chest. The daughters rise slowly. Their robes whisper as they move. They leave offerings upon the altar, fruits, flowers, and written prayers upon slips of papyrus. Then they step back, their faces turned upward to the night sky. The moon has risen higher now. Its light spills into the temple, flooding the floor with silver. It shines upon the statue of Isis, upon the faces of her daughters, upon the basin of water that gleams like a mirror. The ritual is complete, but the night is not finished. For in this temple, in this quiet place, the story of Isis never ends. Her daughters keep her alive not only with their voices, but with their lives. Every act of kindness, every gesture of care, every word of comfort, they are all part of the goddess's eternal hymn. And so, her story continues. In every age, in every heart, in every gentle act of love, the temple grows quiet again. The daughters move softly through its halls, tending lamps, folding linens, closing doors with care. The river continues to flow outside, carrying moonlight in its ripples. The night grows cooler, calmer, deeper. You remain in the vision of the temple, drifting slowly, as though wrapped in the same silence the daughters keep. You feel their song still echoing within you, low and tender, like the after-sound of a lullaby. The statue of Isis stands unmoving, yet alive with meaning. Her open hands seem to offer rest. Her calm face seems to promise peace. Her crown of the shining disk glimmers faintly, a reminder that light always returns. You let the vision soften. The temple walls blur into shadows. The river fades into quiet mist. The singing dissolves into silence. What remains is only calm. A calm that rests deep inside you, like water hidden beneath the earth. A calm that carries you, like the Nile carrying its people. And now, as the daughters bow one final time, as the lamps flicker lower, as the moon sails silently above, you too may rest. You too may surrender into the arms of peace. The night holds you as Isis holds all her children. Now drift onward. The stars return. The silence deepens, and you are safe within it. The night is still. The stars stretch across the sky like tiny embers scattered by the hand of the gods. A gentle wind moves through olive groves carrying the scent of earth and smoke. Somewhere ahead, a soft glow beckons in the darkness. It is the glow of fire. Not a wildfire, leaping and untamed, but a steady flame, quiet and constant, tended by careful hands. This is the sacred hearth. In ancient Greece, at the heart of every city, there burned a fire that was never meant to die. Its flame was more than light. It was more than warmth. It was the breath of the community, the heartbeat of the people, the living presence of the goddess Hestia. Hestia was not a goddess of thunder or storm. She did not shake mountains, nor did she call forth waves. She was gentle. She was steady. She was the flame that warmed food, the fire that guarded the home, the hearth around which families gathered. Her temples were simple. Her presence was quiet. Yet she was always there, unseen but never absent. To honor her, maidens were chosen. Their task was not to fight or to speak prophecy, but to keep the sacred flame alive. Day after day, night after night, the fire must never fade. You step softly into the temple. It is round, open to the sky above. Marble columns rise like pale trees around the central space, leaving the stars visible overhead. At the center rests the hearth, a shallow circle of stone, where the fire burns with a calm, golden light. The flames do not roar. They flicker gently, rising and falling like the slow breath of a sleeping child. Around the hearth move the maidens. Their robes are simple white, flowing quietly around their ankles. Their heads are bowed, their gestures unhurried. One bends to place fresh wood upon the fire. Another stirs the embers with a bronze rod, coaxing them to glow more brightly. A third pours a small libation of oil so the flames dance higher for a moment, then settle again into calm. The temple is silent except for the crackle of fire. Even the sounds of the city beyond seem distant here, softened by the circle of stone. The maidens know their duty is not ordinary, for the flame is not just fire, it is the life of the city itself. If it were to go out, it was believed that the favor of Hestia would fade, and with it the harmony of the people. And so, the maidens tend it with care. Each morning, as the first light touches the horizon, they gather. They cleanse the hearth, sweeping away ashes with slow, reverent movements. They add new wood, chosen carefully from trees that grow near the sacred groves. They kneel and whisper prayers to Hestia, asking her to bless the homes of the people, to keep children safe, to keep harvests plentiful, to keep peace within walls of stone and hearts of flesh. the flame never sleeps. When the city rests, when lamps are extinguished in houses and streets grow quiet, the hearth flame still burns. Its light is steady, its warmth unbroken, for the goddess never sleeps. She is always present, guarding, listening, embracing. You drift closer to the fire. The glow touches your face.
It feels safe.
It feels eternal. The maidens sit in a circle around it. They do not speak loudly. Their words are whispers, soft as rustling leaves. They recite hymns, their voices weaving together like threads of silk. One voice begins, another answers, then all blend into a gentle chant that echoes against the marble and fades into the starry night above. Their hymn tells of the first fire, of how the gods gave flame to humankind, a gift of survival, a gift of light, and of how Hestia, the eldest of the Olympians, chose no throne upon the mountain, but instead chose the hearth in every home. While others sought power or dominion, she sought presence. She chose to dwell where children laughed, where bread was broken, where love was shared in quiet corners of ordinary life. The hymn drifts like smoke, rising upward, winding among the stars. It is a simple song, yet within it lies a truth that comforts. That divinity is not only found in grandeur, but also in stillness, in constancy, in the warmth of a fire that does not go out. The maidens rise. They move slowly, their robes whispering along the floor. One carries a small torch, lit from the sacred flame. She will bring it to a new household where a family awaits, ready to kindle their own hearth with fire from the temple. In this way, every home becomes an extension of the goddess's light. The city itself is woven together by the flame, each family bound to the other through the warmth of Hestia's hearth. You picture it now. A family gathered in the night, children drowsy, drifting toward dreams, parents sharing food, sharing stories, the fire flickering softly, its glow touching every face. The flame is not just heat, it is belonging. It is love made visible. Back in the temple, the flame burns on. The maidens return to their circle. They sit in silence, eyes resting on the fire, breaths falling into rhythm with its gentle crackle. Time seems to stretch, not rushing forward, but opening wide, like a calm sea under a quiet moon. The city beyond may change, streets filled with voices in the day, shadows stretching long at night, but within these walls, the flame is always the same. It does not falter. It does not change. It is as it was yesterday. It will be as it is tomorrow. In this way, it is a mirror of life itself, fragile yet enduring, flickering yet eternal. The maidens know this, though they speak little of it. Their service is not about words, but about presence. To tend the flame is to tend the soul of the people. To watch it is to remind them that life, though fragile, is held within the care of something greater, something steady, something divine. You linger in the temple, your thoughts softening, your breath steady. The fire glows before you. Its light is warm, its voice is calm, and in this glow you feel a quiet lesson, that life does not need to be grand to be sacred. That devotion can be as simple as tending a flame day after day with care. That love is most powerful when it is steady, unbroken, constant as fire that burns through the night. The hymn has ended. The temple is still. The maidens bow their heads, resting in the silence that follows. The stars shine overhead, countless and eternal. The city sleeps. The hearth flame continues. Now, let your own thoughts grow quiet, as steady as the fire. Let your breath move slowly, like smoke rising into the night. Let your heart rest in the calm presence of Hestia, goddess of the hearth. The flame glows on. The stars drift in silence. The city dreams, and you too may drift, safely and softly into the warmth of rest. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return. Night settles gently across the land. The sky is a deep indigo, brushed with silver stars. The air is cool, carrying the quiet scent of pine and earth. Somewhere in the distance, a stream murmurs over smooth stones, its waters shining faintly in the moonlight. You step softly into the grove. Tall trees stand like silent guardians, their branches woven together high above. The path beneath your feet is soft with moss and fallen leaves. A hush lingers here, a silence that feels alive as though the air itself listens. This is the dwelling place of the Sibyls, women of vision, keepers of mystery, voices through which the divine was said to speak. The ancients believed that within shadowed caves, sacred springs, and groves such as this, the Sibyls sat in stillness. They were not rulers nor warriors, but their words guided both. Kings sought them, wanderers came to them. Their voices were like wind through branches, like water slipping over stone, soft, yet filled with meaning. The fire of a small lamp glows ahead, marking the entrance of a stone chamber. Its flame is low, a golden shimmer in the night. You move closer, and the sound of the stream grows louder, blending with the faint rustle of leaves. Inside the chamber, shadows dance across the walls. The Sibyl sits upon a simple seat of rock. Her robe flows about her like rippling water. Her hair, streaked with silver, falls loosely over her shoulders. Her eyes are half closed, as if gazing not outward but inward to realms unseen. She does not raise her voice. She does not declare with thunder. Instead, her words fall slowly, like drops of water from a hidden spring. Each syllable carries weight, not because it is loud, but because it is steady. Those who hear her lean in, listening, not only with ears, but with the quiet of their hearts. It is said that the Sibyl's voice was not her own alone. The ancients believed the gods spoke through her, the divine wind passing through the hollow reed of her being. Like a flute carried by breath, she gave sound to something greater than herself. Her prophecies were not always clear. Often they were veiled, woven in riddles and symbols. Yet within them, seekers found guidance. A king would hear a warning before a battle. A wanderer would hear a direction for his path. A farmer would hear of rains to come or of droughts to endure. The Sibyl's words were like seeds. They were planted deep within those who heard them. With time, they unfolded, revealing meaning in the way a bud slowly becomes a flower. You sit within the chamber, close to the fire. The light flickers against the stone. The Sibyl begins to speak, her voice low and flowing. She tells of winds that shift, of rivers that change course, of stars that rise and fall. She speaks of journeys, of choices, of unseen hands guiding the weave of fate. Her words are soft, yet they settle within you like gentle rain upon thirsty earth. In her presence, time seems to slow. The night deepens, yet it does not press heavily. It cradles you, like a cloak drawn gently around weary shoulders. The fire breathes, the stream murmurs, the trees outside sway in rhythm with the wind. All moves together as though the world itself listens with you. The Sibyl's voice fades into silence, yet the silence itself seems full, as though carrying the echo of her words. You rest in it, breathing slowly, letting the quiet sink deep. Beyond this chamber, across distant lands, other Sibyls sit in their own places. Some dwell in caves near the sea, where waves echo like the beating of the world's heart. Some sit beside hot springs, where rising steam curls upward like prayers. Some linger in mountain grottos, where the air is thin and sharp, and the sky spreads wide above. Each Sibyl is different, yet all are bound by the same thread. Each listens, each speaks softly. Each becomes a vessel through which something greater flows. The ancients told stories of how seekers traveled far to hear them. Pilgrims would climb winding paths, carrying offerings of honey, laurel, or simple bread. They would wait in silence outside the Sibyl's chamber, their hearts full of questions. Yet when they entered, they were reminded that answers often arrive not in thunder, but in whisper. Not in clarity, but in mystery. The Sibyls taught that truth is not always a straight road. Sometimes it is a river that bends. Sometimes it is a bird that disappears into the sky. To listen is to wait. To trust is to walk, even when the path is dim. You rise from your seat, stepping once more into the grove. The air is cool against your skin. Above, the stars shimmer, countless and eternal. The stream flows on, its song steady and soft. You carry with you the quiet weight of the Sibyl's words, though their meaning may unfold only with time. As you walk, you sense how the Sibyls were more than voices of prophecy. They were reminders of listening itself. In a world of noise and striving, they called people back to stillness, back to silence, back to the space where whispers of the divine could be heard. And so, their presence lingers, even now, not in temples of stone, not in written records, but in the hush of night, in the rustle of leaves, in the slow breath of earth. Perhaps the Sibyls teach us still that guidance comes quietly when the heart is open, that the voice of the sacred is not far away, but close, as near as the wind that brushes your cheek, as near as the breath that moves gently in and out of your chest. The grove darkens further as the night deepens. Yet you feel no fear. The air is calm. The path is steady. The stars watch overhead, patient and kind. The Sibyl's words rest within you, not as commands, but as comfort. They remind you that your path too is guided, that even in uncertainty you are held. You pause at the edge of the grove. Behind you, the flame of the lamp flickers within the chamber. Before you, the horizon stretches wide, silvered by moonlight. All is quiet, all is still. Let your thoughts grow as gentle as the wind in the trees. Let your heart rest as easily as the stream flowing over stone. Let the whispers of the sibyls drift through you, soft and steady, like a lullaby carried by the night. The stars return overhead. The grove holds its silence. The flame burns low, and you drift, carried by calm, into the embrace of sleep. Let us drift onward. Now rest, as the stars return. The evening sky softens into shades of amber and rose. Fields stretch wide beneath the fading sun, their stalks of grain swaying like golden seas. The air is warm, touched with the faint scent of ripening wheat. A hush moves across the land, as though the earth itself prepares to listen. You drift along a quiet path that winds through the fields. The soil beneath your feet is rich and dark, holding the memory of countless harvests. In the distance, small fires glow, their smoke rising gently toward the heavens. Voices murmur in song, low, steady, like the rhythm of a heartbeat. This is the time of Demeter, the corn goddess. She is the mother of the fields, the spirit of the grain, the gentle keeper of bread and life. Her stories were told wherever seed met soil, wherever hands reached into the earth with hope. And in those places, women gathered to honor her, carrying prayers for their people, for the land, and for the children yet to come. The women are dressed in linen robes, soft and flowing, their hair braided with strands of wheat. Around their wrists and ankles, garlands of flowers rest. As the firelight flickers, they move in circles, their steps light upon the earth, their voices rising in song. Their dance is slow, yet filled with meaning. Each turn a prayer, each gesture a blessing. Demeter's story is woven into their movements. She who searched for her lost daughter, Persephone, wandering through mountains, rivers, and seas. She whose grief caused the earth to withhold its gifts, fields lying barren beneath her sorrow. And she who rejoiced when her child returned, when green sprigs pushed once more through the soil, when life returned with the turning of seasons. The women sing this story, not with words alone, but with the rhythm of their bodies. They move like waves rolling across a golden sea. They bow like stalks bending under summer winds. They rise again, lifting their arms to the sky, as if calling the sun to shine brighter, as if asking the rains to be kind. Around them, baskets rest upon the earth filled with the first fruits of the harvest. Barley and wheat, figs and honey, grapes heavy with sweetness. These are their offerings to Demeter. Not wealth of gold or jewels, but the simple gifts of soil and sweat, the food that sustains all life. The fire crackles gently, sending sparks into the darkening sky. The air glows with warmth, and the shadows of the dancers stretch long across the fields. Children sit nearby, their eyes wide, watching the women's movements, as if watching the turning of the seasons themselves. They learn in silence that the harvest is not only the work of hands, but also of heart, of song, of reverence for the land. In the distance, an elder woman begins to chant. Her voice is soft but strong, like the hum of the earth beneath the soil. She calls upon Demeter, thanking her for the abundance of grain, for the gift of bread, for the promise that no child will go hungry. Her words are slow, carrying through the night air like seeds drifting on the wind. The younger women join her, weaving their voices into a gentle chorus. Together they sing of rivers that nourish, of sun that ripens, of rain that blesses. Their song is both prayer and lullaby, a hymn for the earth itself. As the night deepens, the dance slows. The women gather near the fire, resting their hands upon the baskets of grain. They close their eyes, whispering blessings into the harvest. For every seed planted, they imagine a loaf of bread. For every stalk gathered, they see the faces of children fed. Their prayer is simple, that no table be empty, that no soul be forgotten. The fire burns lower, its glow soft and steady. The fields are quiet now, yet full of presence, as if Demeter herself walks among the women, her footsteps hidden within the rustle of the grain. The goddess is not seen, but felt, in the fullness of the harvest, in the warmth of the bread, in the peace of knowing the earth provides. You linger at the edge of the circle, the night air cool against your skin. The songs drift through you, weaving into your thoughts like gentle streams. You feel the weight of the ancient rhythm, the endless turning of seed to stalk, of stalk to bread, of bread to life. It is a rhythm as steady as your own breath, as soft as your own heartbeat. Beyond the firelight, the stars emerge one by one, scattered across the dark sky like grains of wheat upon a threshing floor. They shine calmly, their light patient and kind, as if they too are witnesses to the prayer of the women. The world feels wide, yet close, wrapped in the embrace of night. In this moment, the harvest becomes more than food. It becomes a promise that life continues, that seasons turn, that love for the earth carries forward to the children of tomorrow. The women are mothers not only to their own children, but to the land itself, tending it with care, singing it to life. Their voices soften now, fading into whispers. The fire settles into glowing embers. The fields rest, their golden heads bowed beneath the touch of night. And you rest as well, carried by the quiet rhythm of earth and sky, of goddess and grain, of women and their song. Let the golden fields remain in your mind as you drift. Let the warmth of fire and the softness of voices cradle you. Let the presence of the corn goddess linger like a gentle hand upon your heart. The night deepens. The stars shine. The women's prayer continues, even in silence. Now rest as the stars return. Let us drift onward, into quiet sleep. The night opens slowly. Moonlight drapes itself across silent stone steps. The air is heavy, with the warmth of summer and the sound of the sea. Far away, drifts like a lullaby through the night. You walk softly, as though each step were an echo of the past. Before you rise the sanctuaries of the Minoans, hidden in the folds of ancient Crete. Here, under the soft glow of firelight, women once lifted serpents in their hands, their eyes steady, their voices low, their gestures flowing like water. They were called priestesses, but they were also keepers of mystery. They stood in chambers of painted walls, where spirals of blue and gold spoke of the ocean and the endless sky. They stood before altars draped in woven cloth and fresh-cut flowers, their hair braided, their robes flowing. And in their hands, serpents moved with slow grace, not as creatures of fear, but as living threads of wisdom, symbols of renewal, symbols of life that never ends. Breathe softly now, as if the same air that moved through those chambers moves through you tonight. The air smells of crushed herbs, of thyme and myrtle, burning gently on clay dishes. The smoke rises, curling like the serpent's path, never straight, never hurried, always flowing, always returning. The serpent priestesses believed that the world was not made of lines, but of circles. Every ending curved back to a beginning. Every silence became a song again. Every seed buried in the soil would rise once more to meet the sun. So they lifted serpents, not as signs of danger, but as guides of this sacred circle. When a serpent shed its skin, they whispered to the people, "See how life is renewed. See how the spirit changes, yet remains. Close your eyes now and imagine the hall around you. The walls shimmer with painted lilies. The floor is cool beneath your feet. Oil lamps flicker with small golden flames, and in that glow, the priestess raises her arms. A serpent rests in each hand. Its body glides, slow as flowing water, its scales shining in the firelight. There is no fear here, only calm, only the rhythm of breath, the steady silence of stone, the slow spiraling dance of life. The priestess moves in gentle circles, her steps soft upon the earth. The serpents curve with her as if joined in a dance older than memory. Each movement tells a story. Each gesture is a prayer, not in words, but in flowing motion, like the sea kissing the shore, like the wind caressing the leaves of the olive tree. The people gather in silence, watching. Their hearts slow. Their minds grow quiet. The serpents seem to draw away fear, to smooth the sharp edges of the soul. In the gentle, endless motion, all things find their place again. Rest here for a while. Let the scene soften around you. The sanctuaries of Crete are small, but they feel infinite. Walls fade into shadows. Shadows blend with starlight. The boundaries between the human and the divine begin to dissolve. It is as though the whole island breathes with you, the mountains, the fields, the sea, all rising and falling in the same gentle rhythm. The serpent is more than an animal here. It is a thread between worlds. It touches the soil, yet its form speaks of mysteries below the earth. It glides in silence, yet its body holds the story of change, of skin shed and spirit renewed. It moves, close to the hearth, yet its spirals echo the galaxies above. The priestesses knew this. They carried this knowing in their bones. When they lifted serpents, they lifted also the weight of ancient memory. They carried the circle of seasons, the turning of day into night, the rhythm of breath, the endless return. You breathe deeper now, drawn into that circle. Each breath feels like a tide, moving out, moving in. Each heartbeat is a drum, slow and steady, echoing across the centuries. The people who came to these sanctuaries came with questions, with burdens, with hopes. The priestesses did not answer with words. Instead, they showed the dance. They raised the serpents. They moved in circles. And in that silence, the people felt the answer. The answer was not a sentence. It was a feeling, a soft assurance that nothing is ever lost, that life, like the serpent, renews itself forever. Imagine now the sea just beyond the stone walls. It glitters under the moon, endless and calm. The waves move in and out, just as they have for thousands of years. The sound is soft, a gentle rhythm, a lullaby sung by the earth itself. In this sanctuary of night, you feel the same rhythm. The serpent coils and uncoils. The flames flicker and steady. The heart slows and steadies. The circle closes and opens again. One priestess lowers her serpents now, placing them gently into woven baskets. They curl within the straw, safe and silent. The people bow their heads. The dance is complete. The silence grows deeper, like a blanket spread over the night. The priestess whispers a blessing, her voice low as the wind in the trees. May you be renewed. May you find peace in the circle. May you walk without fear as the serpent walks upon the earth. The words drift like smoke, rising, fading, becoming part of the night itself. You linger in that silence. The fire burns lower. The lamps flicker like tired eyes. Beyond the walls, the sea sighs softly, endless, eternal. This is how the priestesses lived, in the rhythm of renewal, in the calm embrace of mystery, not seeking to explain, but to embody, not seeking to command, but to flow. Their serpents were never weapons. They were guides. They were symbols of the wisdom that lives in silence, in stillness, in slow, spiraling change. Breathe again, slowly. The night deepens. The story softens. The serpents rest. The priestesses rest. The earth itself rests. And so you may rest too, for the circle holds you. The sea hums for you. The stars watch over you. And the soft voices of the serpent priestesses whisper through the ages, soothing, steady, like the rustle of leaves in a midnight breeze. Now let us drift onward, into deeper night, into calmer dreams. The serpents sleep, the priestesses sleep, and you too may surrender to the circle of rest. The night is wide, and the mountains rise in silence, their peaks silvered by the moon. Cool winds drift through cedar groves, carrying with them the faint perfume of pine and resin. Far below, the valleys lie in shadow. But here, high upon the sacred slopes, there is firelight. You approach the shrine of Cybele, the mother of mountains, the great mother of life and stone. Her temples are not always of carved marble. Sometimes they are cliffs, caves, and open skies. The mountain itself is her dwelling, and the earth her endless throne. In the stillness of night, you hear a sound, a soft pulse, a slow drum. It beats like the heart of the mountain. It grows, gently, steadily, until it seems to echo in your own chest. The dancers are gathering, women of the Mother Goddess, their hair loose, their garments flowing, their feet bare upon the stone. They carry small drums strung with hide and wood, and their fingers tap softly, like rain upon leaves. At first, the rhythm is quiet, like a whisper, like the breath of the wind. The flames of the torches bend to it. The stars above seem to lean closer, and then, slowly, the rhythm deepens, a steady rolling thunder in the hollow of the valley. You watch as the dancers begin to move. Their steps are small at first, circles, traced upon the earth, their bodies swaying like young trees in the night wind. The drums speak for them. The earth listens. The air hums. Cybele is the mother of wild things. Her voice is carried in rivers, in storms, in the cries of lions that guard her throne. To her, these women dance, not with words, but with heartbeat, with movement, with devotion so deep it becomes the rhythm itself. The circle grows. More women step forward, their faces calm, their bodies yielding to the song of the drums. They turn, they whirl, their skirts lifting, their hair flying, as though the mountain winds have taken hold of them. Yet there is no frenzy here, only flow, only surrender to something larger, something timeless. You close your eyes for a moment. The sound of the drums fills the dark behind your eyelids. Boom, boom, boom. Slow and steady, like the heart of the earth itself. When you open them, again, the torches blur with motion. The dancers spiral in golden light, and the shadows on the walls look like ancient figures joining the circle. Each gesture tells a story. When a dancer raises her arms, she is the mountain lifting toward the sky. When she spins, she is the turning of the seasons. When her feet strike the earth, she is planting seeds deep into soil, seeds that will rise with the spring. And always, the drums beat. Steady, low, endless. Like the lull of waves against the shore, like rain falling on a roof in the night, like your own heartbeat slowing with rest. The women are not alone. All around, the silence of nature listens. Owls watch from the trees. A stream below whispers as it flows over stone. The mountain itself seems alive, humming in resonance with the rhythm of devotion. Cybele's dancers are keepers of connection. They remind the people that the mother is not far away. She is not hidden behind doors or veils. She is here in the soil beneath your feet, in the wind brushing your face, in the steady rhythm of your breath. As they whirl, you see their faces shining with sweat, with moonlight, with something that looks like joy, but also like surrender. They are not dancing for themselves. They are dancing to become vessels, to open their bodies so that the mountain itself may move through them. The sound grows louder, but not harsh. It is like a storm gathering slowly, a storm you feel safe within. The drums roll like distant thunder, and the women's feet strike like soft rain. It is a storm of rhythm, a storm of devotion. It wraps around you, holds you, soothes you. You feel your body begin to sway, not in dance, but in gentle echo. Your breath deepens. Your chest rises and falls with the same slow rhythm. Your heart joins the mountain's heart, and for a moment, you are not separate. You are part of the circle, part of the mother's song. The dancers spin until time itself feels blurred. The fire crackles. The drums never falter. The mountain holds them all. And then, slowly, the rhythm begins to soften. Like a wave retreating from the shore, it draws back, quietly, gently. The dancers slow their steps. Their circles become smaller. Their arms fall. Their hair settles on their shoulders. The drums grow faint, a heartbeat fading into silence. And now, there is stillness again. The torches burn low. The night is deep. The mountain rests. The mother has been honored. The circle is complete. One dancer kneels, pressing her hand to the earth. Her palm is steady. Her touch is soft. And in that gesture, all devotion is spoken. Nothing more is needed. You breathe in once more, filling your chest with the cool air of the mountain night. You breathe out slowly, as though releasing your own burdens into the soil. The drums are silent now, but their rhythm lingers within you. It beats softly, like a memory, like a dream. The women step back into the shadows, their robes whispering against stone. The fire fades to embers. The stars shine brighter. The night is calm again. Cybele, the great mother, rests in her mountain. Her voice is in the silence. Her blessing is in the stillness. Her dancers have returned to her, as the stream returns to the sea, as the day returns to night. And so you return as well, back into quiet, back into peace. Your breath is slow, your body soft, your heart steady. The mountain holds you, the earth holds you, the mother holds you. Now rest, as the dancers once rested after their steps were complete. Rest, as the drums fall silent and the night embraces the valley. Now drift onward, into dreams as gentle as the mountain wind, as steady as the mother's heartbeat. Now rest, as the stars return. The night settles deep among the trees. Moonlight filters down in silver strands, slipping through pine branches, touching moss and stone with a quiet glow. The forest breathes slowly like a living being. Each leaf shivers in the cool air. Each shadow folds gently into the earth. Here, in the still groves of Greece, the goddess Artemis keeps her sanctuary. She is the lady of the moon, the protector of the wild. The deer bow to her silence. The wolves follow her steps, and the rivers sing her name. Her groves are tended by maidens, young women who have chosen silence, chosen devotion, chosen to walk lightly upon the earth. They are the watchers of Artemis, guardians of her forest, keepers of purity, of balance, of stillness. If you listen, you can almost hear them moving. Their steps are soft, bare feet brushing against grass and root. They carry no torches. The moon guides them. The stars watch over them. Their garments are simple, woven of pale cloth that glimmers faintly in the night. The watchers do not shout. They do not call. Their voices are quiet as streams, their songs no louder than wind through reeds. Yet their presence holds the grove, like a gentle circle, like invisible arms protecting the heart of the forest. A deer steps forward from the shadows, its eyes gleam, round and calm. One of the maidens lifts her hand, not to capture, not to command, but simply to greet. The deer bows its head, and for a moment, human and animal share the same silence. The watchers of Artemis live in harmony with all things. They draw water from springs, leaving the stones untouched. They gather herbs, but only what is needed. They walk the woods by moonlight, never breaking branches, never scaring the nesting birds. Their vow is not only to serve the goddess, but to honor the wild itself. Artemis is their guide. She is the huntress who runs beside them in dreams. She is the moon above them, constant, watchful, ever pure. To her they offer not incense or gold, but quiet lives, measured steps, gentle care. In the heart of the grove there is a clearing. Here, an ancient oak spreads its wide arms. Its trunk is vast, scarred with age, yet strong. Beneath it, a small altar rests, stones piled together, covered with ivy, worn smooth by time. The maidens gather there. They kneel, bowing their heads, their hair falling like rivers of shadow. They hold no weapons. Their hands are empty, open. The night itself feels hushed, as though even the wind waits to hear them breathe. One begins to sing. Her voice is low, a hum, a thread of sound that seems to rise from the earth itself. Another joins, and another, until the grove is filled with soft tones, layered and weaving, like mist upon the water. It is not a song of words. It is a song of devotion, a song the deer understand, a song the owls echo in their cries. The fireflies answer, blinking gently in the dark. Their lights drift through the clearing, like stars that have descended to rest among the trees. The maidens lift their faces, their eyes half closed, their voices blending into the rhythm of night. Their vow is silence, but silence can sing. Silence can pray. Silence can guard more fiercely than any wall. The silent watchers know this. Their stillness is their strength, their reverence is their shield, and in their watch the grove remains pure. Legends say that those who harmed the forests of Artemis would meet swift justice. But here, in the calm of the sacred grove, there is no fear. Only balance. Only the sense that each tree, each stream, each living creature is part of a greater song. A song the maidens tend like a flame. A breeze stirs the branches above. The leaves rustle, soft as whispers. The maidens rise from their kneeling. Their song fades, folding back into the night. They return to their watch, moving apart, slipping like shadows into the forest paths. One walks beside the river. The water gleams silver, catching the moonlight. She bends, cupping her hands, drinking deeply. The ripples fade quickly, and the stream flows on, unbroken. Another walks toward the meadow. Wildflowers turn their heads toward the night sky. She kneels, gathering a few blossoms for the altar. Her touch is careful, leaving the rest to bloom. Another sits upon a rock, listening to the forest, the hoot of an owl, the crackle of twigs beneath the weight of a fox, the distant call of wolves in the hills. All these sounds weave together. She closes her eyes, breathing deeply, and feels the goddess near. So the watchers move, scattered but united, each tending a thread of the forest's song. Their lives are simple. They rise with dawn, rest with night, live by the rhythm of the earth. And in this simplicity, there is peace. As you listen, you feel yourself becoming part of this quiet rhythm. Your breath matches the soft pulse of the forest. Your body relaxes like a tree rooted in stillness. The world outside fades. Only the grove remains, only the calm. The moon has climbed high. Its light drapes over every branch, every stone, every watcher who moves beneath its glow. Artemis herself seems to walk among them, her steps soundless, her bow shining like silver. She is present in the hush, in the purity, in the unbroken silence. The forest holds you now. The maidens of Artemis guard the night. Their vow is steady, their devotion endless, and so you may rest, safe in their circle. The leaves murmur one last time, like a lullaby. The river sighs. The stars burn softly overhead. The silent watchers remain at their posts, eyes lifted to the moon, hands resting gently at their sides. Now close your eyes. Now breathe. Now drift as they drift into silence. Let the forest hold you. Let the night guide you. Let Artemis watch over you as the stars return. The sea is calm tonight. Its wide surface glimmers beneath the moon, like a mirror made of silver and breath. Soft waves roll in, each one carrying a hushed rhythm, a lullaby whispered by the waters. Salt lingers in the air. The breeze is gentle, brushing the skin like a tender hand. Here, along the coast of ancient Greece, a temple rises. It does not tower with stone might, nor thunder with power. It is quiet, carved in marble that glows pale under starlight. Columns stand like guardians, their reflections trembling in the tide pools below. This temple belongs to Aphrodite, goddess of love, born from the foam of the sea. Every night, the ocean itself seems to sigh in her honor. Every wave remembers her birth. The foam carries her story, drifting endlessly from shore to shore. Within the temple, maidens keep vigil. They are the daughters of the coast, their lives tied to sea and song. Their duty is not battle nor burden, but devotion. They tend to the goddess with gentleness, with beauty, with the rhythm of tide and wind. As the moon climbs higher, they gather at the edge of the waves. Their robes are light, woven of pale linen that flutters against their ankles. Some wear garlands of roses, petals soft against their hair. Others carry vessels of clay, filled with water perfumed by petals and herbs. The ocean watches them. It hushes its voice, lowering its roar into soft murmurs. Even the gulls have gone quiet, perched upon rocks, their heads tucked beneath wings. The night belongs to the maidens. The night belongs to Aphrodite. They walk together, their steps unhurried, their movements like a tide in human form. Each maiden hums a gentle note, and soon the air fills with song. The hymn is soft, flowing without words, as if the sea itself were singing through them. At the temple's heart stands the statue of the goddess. Carved from marble, her figure glows with pale light. Her gaze is serene, her lips curved into a smile that is both tender and eternal. Around her feet, roses are scattered. Shells gleam among them, polished smooth by years of tide. The maidens approach in a circle. They lower their vessels, their voices still rising in soft waves of song. One by one they lift their hands and pour rosewater upon the statue. The liquid glides down the marble, catching the moonlight, leaving trails that shine like dew. The scent of roses spreads through the temple, mingling with the salt of the sea breeze. The ritual is not rushed. It is like breathing, like rocking gently in a cradle of water. Each movement is slow. Each gesture is tender. Their offering is not of gold or jewels, but of care, of beauty, of reverence. Aphrodite is the goddess of love, not only the love of two hearts, but the love of the world itself. The love in the curve of a shell, in the softness of a rose petal, in the endless embrace of the sea. The maidens know this. Their songs are prayers not for conquest, not for power, but for harmony. The waves answer them. Each time the hymn rises, the tide leans closer, kissing the stones at the temple's base. Foam gathers, curling and breaking like white lace. It is said the goddess listens in such moments. It is said the sea itself carries her laughter. One maiden steps forward. She holds a shell, large and spiraled, gleaming faintly in the starlight. She presses it to her lips and breathes. A low note echoes deep as the ocean floor, soft as a whale's distant call. The sound fills the temple, vibrating through stone and skin. It is the voice of the sea, drawn through human breath. The others kneel, bowing their heads, their hair spilling forward like rivers of night. The rose water continues to drip, falling from the statue's hands, gathering in a shallow pool at her feet. Some dip their fingers into it, touching the cool liquid to their brows, their lips, their hearts. It is a blessing. It is a bond. Outside, the moon glides higher still. Its light stretches across the water, a silver path without end. The maidens raise their eyes to it, their song softening into silence. They breathe together. They rest together. The temple is filled with peace, with fragrance, with the steady pulse of the sea. Legends say that sailors far from shore would dream of such nights. They would see the maidens in their sleep, singing by torchlight, washing the goddess in rosewater. The dream would bring them calm, guiding them through storm, reminding them of home. Perhaps even now, far across the water, someone sleeps beneath the stars, carried by the same rhythm. The maidens remain in their circle, guarding the stillness. They do not speak. They do not rush. Their silence is filled with meaning, their stillness with devotion. Like the tide, they know when to rise, when to fall, when to pause. At last, the vessels are empty. The roses have released their fragrance. The hymn has faded, leaving only the sound of waves. The statue gleams as though alive, its marble kissed by moon and water. The goddess seems to smile, her presence woven into the night air. The maidens bow once more. Their hands rest upon the stones, their heads low. They linger there, breathing slowly until the world itself feels stilled. Then, softly, they rise. They move toward the shore, their robes brushing against their ankles, their steps light as foam. The ocean greets them, curling around their feet. They stand in the surf, their eyes on the horizon, where stars meet water. The sea is endless. The night is endless. Yet here, in this small temple by the waves, love is tended, honored, kept alive like a flame. The maidens close their eyes. The breeze touches their faces. The stars drift slowly overhead. The sea sings, and in that song there is no weight, no worry, no sorrow. Only love, endless as water, gentle as a rose, pure as moonlight on the waves. Let yourself drift with them. Let the tide carry you. Let the roses soothe you. Now the temple fades, and only the rhythm of the ocean remains. Only the hush of waves. Only the soft breath of night. Rest now as the ocean maidens keep their vigil. Rest as the goddess smiles upon her shore. Rest as the stars return, one by one, to guide you deeper into sleep. High above the silent world, the moon drifts across the heavens. Her light is soft, silver and tender, as though poured from a vessel of still water. Beneath her gaze, the earth rests. Forests darken into shadow, rivers turn to ribbons of shining glass, and mountains seem to breathe in long, heavy dreams. It is here, in the quiet hours of night, that the Sisters of the Moon once gathered. They were women who carried in their hearts the ancient devotion to Selene, the goddess of the moon, the silver mother of the sky. Listen gently now. Let the hush of this story surround you, as though you were lying on cool grass beneath the watchful stars. Let the silver light wash over you until every thought grows soft. The sisters came together only when the sky was clear and the moon was full. Her round face, glowing above the world, was their signal, their guiding flame. Each sister carried a small lamp in her hands, though the lamps were not for light. For Selene's radiance was more than enough to guide them. The lamps were gifts, each flame representing the soul of a prayer, each wick carrying a silent wish upward. They would walk barefoot to the high fields, where the air was thin and filled with the scent of thyme and wild lavender. The ground was cool beneath their feet, as though the earth itself was bowing in stillness before the moon. In soft silence, the sisters would gather in a circle, their shadows stretching long and pale across the grass. No words were needed at first, only the stillness of breath, the rhythm of night insects, and the slow turning of the heavens above. Selene was not a goddess of thunder or fire. She was not called through drums or raised swords. She arrived in quiet ways, descending gently, like dew on leaves, like sleep upon weary eyes. To honor her, the sisters spoke softly, almost in whispers, so that their voices would not disturb the fragile stillness. They believed that Selene was the keeper of the soul's hidden tides. Just as the moon pulls the oceans into rising waves, she also stirred the waters within the heart. A sorrow too heavy, a joy too bright, a memory too sharp. All of these she could calm, like a hand smoothing ripples upon a pond. The sisters prayed for travelers on the road, for mothers in childbirth, for farmers tending the soil. They prayed for the forgotten, for the lost, for those whose grief was unseen. Their prayers were threads, silver and light, stretching into the night sky. To them, each word spoken in Selene's name was a stitch in the great fabric of stars. Sometimes, when the circle was deep in silence, one of the sisters would begin to hum. It was not a song of words, but a tone, low and slow, that echoed like the sound of wind moving through hollow stone. The others would join until the meadow trembled with soft harmony. It was said that Selene herself leaned close to listen, her pale face glowing brighter, her silver horses pausing in their celestial path to honor the sound. The myths tell that Selene drove a chariot of white horses across the night sky. Their manes shone like liquid silver, and their hooves struck sparks among the stars. When the sisters lifted their eyes, they imagined those horses trotting silently above them, pulling the radiant goddess across the heavens. She would look down, serene and unblinking, her hair falling like streams of moonlight, her brow crowned with a diadem of shining pearls. Yet the sisters knew that Selene was not only in the sky. She was in the coolness of still water, in the pale glow on a river's edge, in the glimmer of a child's dreaming eyes. They felt her most deeply in themselves, in the cycles of their bodies, in the rhythm of their breath, in the mystery of dreams. When the circle of prayer was complete, the sisters each poured a few drops of honey into a shallow bowl. Honey was sacred to the goddess, golden as sunlight yet soft as night's silence. It was said to be a gift that never spoiled, a sweetness without end. Into that honey they dipped sprigs of lavender, laying them gently at the center of their circle. Bees would come in the morning to sip what was left, carrying with them the offerings of devotion. The sisters then lifted their faces, bathed in silver light. Each one closed her eyes, allowing the goddess's radiance to soak into her skin. Some would feel a weight lift from their hearts. Some would feel a dream beginning to stir. Others felt only peace, as though time itself had slowed, and the night had become eternal. They believed that Selene's gaze did not pass over anyone. She saw every soul, every burden, every silent wish. To sleep beneath her glow was to be remembered, to be held in her endless watchfulness. Legends tell of one sister, a woman whose heart carried great sorrow. Her child had been lost to the sea, swept away in a sudden storm. The waves had taken what she loved most, and her grief had grown so heavy she could not speak. For many nights she sat in silence while the others prayed, her lips unable to form words. But one night, as the circle gathered and the moon rose clear, the grieving sister looked up at the glowing sky. She whispered nothing, only let her tears fall like silver drops upon the ground. The others did not speak. They simply placed their hands one by one upon her shoulders. Their warmth surrounded her. Their silence deepened, and together they let the moonlight fall over them. It is said that Selene herself descended then, invisible to all but felt in the soul. A cool wind moved through the meadow, though no leaves stirred. The grieving sister felt a calmness enter her heart, not removing her sorrow, but softening its sharpness. From that night on, she returned again and again, her silence no longer heavy but peaceful, like a stone resting quietly at the bottom of a still lake. The sisters of Selene did not seek power, nor did they claim prophecy. Their devotion was a prayer of gentleness, a reminder that life moved in cycles, as did the moon. There was fullness and emptiness, brightness and shadow, but always a return. Just as the moon vanished and was reborn, so too did the heart heal and grow, waxing and waning in its own time. When the night grew late, and the chill of dawn began to rise from the earth, the sisters slowly parted. They carried their lamps homeward, the flames flickering against the soft breath of night. The meadow would fall silent again, as though holding the memory of their gathering until the next full moon. You too may imagine yourself among them now, barefoot upon the cool grass, the air filled with lavender. Above you, the moon glowing like a lantern held by the sky. Around you, soft voices humming, weaving threads of prayer through the night. Breathe gently, as though your own breath is part of that circle. Let the light of Selene touch your skin, calm your thoughts, and carry your heart into stillness. For the moon watches over all. She sees your journey, your joys, your sorrows. Nothing is hidden from her silver gaze, and in her timeless patience, there is peace. Now let the story drift into quiet. Imagine the sisters fading back into the shadows, their prayers rising upward, their lamps flickering out one by one. The meadow is still, the stars are countless, and the moon Selene shines on. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return and the silver goddess keeps watch. Night deepens. The stars rest high above, their light trembling like small lamps hung in the endless sky. The earth lies still, and the air carries the soft hush of unseen wings. Somewhere beyond the villages, beyond the fields, there are crossroads where three paths meet. It is there that the hidden maidens of Hecate once gathered. Their torches glowed like watchful eyes, their voices gentle as wind in tall grass. You may rest here in this story now, as though you too have wandered to the edge of night. Imagine the silence, the cool air brushing across your skin, and the faint shimmer of flame guiding your steps. Hecate was the goddess of thresholds and crossings. She dwelt between what was seen and what was hidden, between light and shadow, between the world of the living and the quiet lands of spirits. She was the guardian of paths, the one who watched at every fork in the road. Her presence was not loud, not fearful. It was steady, like a lantern burning against the dark. The maidens who served her knew this well. They walked softly, carrying torches that flickered gold against the night. Some said the flames never faltered, even in strong winds. Others believed the light was not from wax or oil, but from the goddess herself. Small sparks of her endless watchfulness. The maidens gathered at night when the moon was high. They wore robes the color of earth, so their forms blended with the shadows. Only their faces glowed in the light of the torches, serene and unhurried. At the center of the crossroads, they laid offerings, bread baked with honey, slices of fruit, sprigs of herbs, and small bowls of milk. These gifts were not for themselves. They were left for wandering souls, for travelers unseen, for spirits moving silently between worlds. The crossroads were a place of passage. One path led forward, another backward, another to the unknown. To the maidens, each crossroad was a symbol of choice, of turning points, of moments when the heart was asked to step one way or another. Hecate stood at these places, not to decide for anyone, but to light the way so that none would walk blind. The rituals of the maidens were quiet. They spoke in low voices, sometimes only in whispers, so as not to disturb the deep stillness. Their chants carried like soft winds across the empty paths, weaving blessings for those who might come later. "May your steps be safe," they breathed. "May your journey be clear. May your spirit rest in peace." It was said that when they sang, even the restless dogs who guarded the roads would grow calm, lying down with heads resting upon their paws. For Hecate was often seen with hounds at her side, loyal companions who could see what mortal eyes could not. Their howls were not cries of fear, but calls that echoed between worlds, announcing her presence. Legends tell of a traveler who once stumbled upon such a gathering. He was weary, lost on his road, and his heart was heavy with grief. He carried no light, and the night pressed close around him. But then ahead he saw the glow of torches, He thought he had found a campfire, yet when he drew near, he saw only women standing in a circle at the crossroads. Their flames flickered but gave no smoke, their faces serene, their voices soft as breath. The man was afraid to step closer, but one of the maidens turned and lifted her torch. Her eyes met his, not with judgment, but with calm. She whispered a blessing into the air, and though he did not hear the words clearly, he felt his chest lighten as though a burden had been taken from him. When he blinked, the circle was gone. Only the faint glow of the moon remained, and the path before him seemed brighter, easier to follow. From that night on, he told all who would listen that Hecate's maidens had guided him home. The maidens were hidden, yet always present. They lived quietly in villages, blending into daily life, tending families and fields. But when the night called, they became guardians of unseen paths. They did not claim power. They did not seek praise. Their gift was simply presence, to keep the crossroads safe, to whisper blessings into the dark, to watch for those who wandered too close to shadow. Their torches were more than fire. They were symbols of the soul's light, which could burn steadily, even in the heaviest night. Just as Hecate carried her lantern at the edges of the worlds, so too did the maidens carry light for those in need. To them, each torch was a reminder that no one walked alone, not even in the silence of midnight. It was believed that Hecate herself appeared at certain crossroads. Some said she came as a tall woman crowned with stars, her hands holding twin torches. Others said she came as three figures at once, maiden, mother, and elder, her faces looking down each of the three roads. But most often, her presence was felt only in a hush of air, a stillness deeper than silence, a sudden brightness in the flame. The maidens welcomed her in these moments. They bowed their heads, letting the light of her torches mingle with their own. And though no words passed between goddess and servant, they knew she was pleased. For every blessing spoken at the crossroads was also a blessing to her, the eternal guardian of all that lies between. Sometimes the maidens were called upon when a soul had passed from this world. Families would ask them to stand at the village edge, torches glowing, their chants rising in low harmony. They did not claim to lead the dead, but they prayed that the journey would be gentle. They prayed that no shadow would confuse the way, that the soul would find its path, guided by the goddess's flame. In this way, the crossroads were not only places for the living, but doorways for those moving beyond. The offerings of honey and bread, the bowls of milk, were gifts of kindness for these travelers. All journeys deserve light, the maidens would whisper, even the journeys we cannot see. One story tells of a young maiden who doubted her place in the circle. She felt her voice was too quiet, her torch too small. But one night, when the wind rose and the others struggled to keep their flames alive, it was her torch that burned the brightest, steady, and unwavering. The others turned to her in gratitude, and she realized that no flame was too small, no voice too soft when carried in devotion. From that night, she walked with pride, her steps sure, her blessings confident. For Hecate's light was not measured in size, but in steadiness. And so the maidens passed through generations, never many, always hidden, yet always there. They were keepers of night's calm, guardians of unseen thresholds. Wherever paths met and choices unfolded, wherever shadows thickened and travelers lost their way, the maidens were said to be near. Their torches glowed, their whispers carried, their presence held steady. Even now, when crossroads are quiet and empty, some say you may feel them. A sudden hush in the wind, a faint glow where no flame should be, a sense that you are not alone. These are the signs that the maidens still walk, carrying Hecate's light, keeping watch in the silence of night. Now let the story soften around you. Imagine the torches dimming, one by one, until only the moon remains above. The crossroads fade into mist. The chants dissolve into silence. Only peace lingers like a soft veil of night. You rest at the edge of sleep, safe beneath the goddess's gaze, guided by the maiden's hidden flame. Let us drift onward. Now rest as the stars return, and the torches fade into dreams. Night drapes softly over rolling hills, where mists rise from the valleys and silver stars watch in silence. The air is cool and damp, carrying the scent of earth after rain. In the distance, the shadows of tall oaks stand like pillars, their crowns spreading wide, their roots gripping deep into the soil of the old world. These are no ordinary trees. They belong to the sacred grove, hidden from the eyes of strangers, held close by the whispers of time. Here, women kept watch. Their steps were soundless on the moss, their presence quiet as the moon. They were guardians of the grove, protectors of the ancient bond between humankind and the living spirit of nature. The grove itself was a temple, though it had no walls. The roof was made of branches woven with sky. The altar was the earth itself, blanketed with fallen leaves and soft green moss. The wind carried hymns instead of bells, and every tree was a pillar reaching from the soil into the stars. Women of the sacred grove understood this language. They read the rustle of leaves as if it were scripture. They followed the paths of owls and ravens as if they were lines of prayer. They listened to the rain as though it were the voice of the unseen. Their rituals were not bound to stone temples or carved statues. Their temple was living, breathing, eternal. In Celtic lands, the oak was called the king of trees. Its trunk was strength, its branches wisdom, its roots memory. The women wove charms beneath its shelter. They gathered mistletoe when the moon was round and full, believing it carried the power of both sky and tree. With strands of green and berries like pearls, they braided garlands that hung on doorways to protect the tribe. Some charms were made for healing, tied with herbs and bound with threads of moonlight and prayer. Others were made for travelers, slipped into their packs to keep the road safe and the nights calm. Every charm was small, but within it lay the breath of the grove, quiet, steady, protective. At dusk, when shadows stretched long and the sky turned a silver blue, the women walked in circles among the trees. They carried bowls of water drawn from springs, water that shimmered with reflected stars. With their fingers, they scattered droplets across roots and leaves, whispering blessings as they moved. It was said that these drops carried healing, not just for the body, but for the soul. Sometimes their voices rose together in low songs. The melodies were gentle, rising and falling like wind through branches. Each note seemed to weave itself into the bark of the oaks, into the mist above the ground. To those who listened from a distance, the sound felt like a lullaby sung by the earth itself. Travelers often spoke of the grove as a place of safety. On long journeys, when storms pressed close and fear weighed heavy, they would seek the oaks. And if they found the women there, carrying their bowls of water and their charms of green, they knew they were safe. The guardians never turned a traveler away. They offered rest beneath the trees, food gathered from the land, and blessings spoken beneath the moon. One tale tells of a wounded warrior who stumbled into the grove. His breath was shallow and his spirit nearly broken. The women laid him upon moss, where the roots curved like arms around him. They bathed his wounds with water touched by moonlight. They placed oak leaves upon his chest, whispering words too soft to catch. When morning came, his pain had lifted, and though his scars remained, his heart was at peace. He carried that peace with him all his days, telling others that the grove was not a place of war, but a sanctuary beyond time. The women did not only serve people, they served the land itself. When storms tore branches from the oaks, they gathered them with care, burning them in small fires so the energy would return to the sky. When animals died in the forest, they buried them with songs, as though guiding their spirits into the next world. They planted herbs at the grove's edge, not to harvest, but to bless the soil with fragrance and healing. Every act was part of a great balance. To them, the grove was alive, and they were only its keepers, never its masters. Mistletoe was their most sacred gift. It grew high among the branches, kissed by sun and dew, never touching the earth. To reach it, they climbed carefully, their hands steady, their hearts reverent. When they cut it, they did so with golden sickles, never iron, for iron was harsh and carried the weight of war. They let the mistletoe fall gently onto white cloth, never letting it touch the soil. This plant was woven into charms, stirred into healing brews, and hung above hearths for blessing. It was said to carry the light of both moon and sun, a union of opposites, a bridge between sky and earth. In every home where mistletoe hung, peace was believed to dwell. On nights of full moon, the grove glowed with silver light. The women stood in circles, their faces turned upward, their arms lifted like branches. They prayed not with words alone, but with silence. Their stillness was a prayer, their breath a chant, their gaze a hymn. The moon's light fell through the leaves, painting patterns upon their robes, wrapping them in silver. Some said that in these moments, Selene herself, the moon goddess, paused in her chariot to look down upon the grove. The women were her daughters, their charms her whispers, their songs her echoes. The grove became a mirror of the heavens, every oak a star, every root a thread of light. Stories say that the sacred grove could not be found unless it wished to be. Paths curved and shifted. Mists rose and thickened. Sometimes those who sought it walked for hours and found nothing but empty woods. But those who stumbled upon it in need, those who carried burdens too heavy to bear, would often find themselves guided straight to its heart. There the women waited, torches unlit, for the grove itself was bright enough. The women lived not as queens or priestesses, but as quiet threads in a vast tapestry. They were daughters, mothers, healers, dreamers. Their power came not from crowns, but from listening, to trees, to rivers, to the deep silence of the earth. They were not feared, but respected, known as keepers of balance. Even the warriors who fought in endless battles laid down their swords when passing near the grove, for to bring violence into that space was to dishonor the land itself. Now the grove falls silent once more. The oak leaves whisper as the night wind passes through. The mist drifts low across the moss. A bowl of water still reflects the stars, shimmering like liquid silver. A garland of mistletoe rests upon a root, waiting for the first touch of morning light. You may rest here too, within the stillness.
Let the branches arch above you like shelter.
Let the earth beneath you feel soft as a bed. The women's songs fade into silence, leaving only calm, leaving only peace. Let us drift onward, as if walking deeper into the forest of dreams. Now rest as the stars return, and the grove holds you in its quiet embrace. The night is quiet. The wind moves slowly through the valleys, carrying with it a hush, as though even the earth has bowed into stillness. You drift into a landscape of shadows softened by moonlight, where hills roll like waves upon the sleeping land. Between these hills, hidden among stone and tree, lie places where few dared to walk. Caves carved by time, groves whispered by branches, hollows where the stars shone faintly through cracks above. It is here that the mothers of forgotten altars once walked. They were guardians of silence, keepers of flame, and though their names have vanished into the dust of centuries, their presence lingers like a soft ember, glowing faintly, refusing to die. By day, these women moved among their people, tending to homes, to children, to the work of living. But when night stretched her veil across the earth, they gathered in secret. Their feet found narrow paths leading to caves veiled by ivy, to small stone circles buried beneath moss, to valleys where the sound of water covered the murmur of prayer. Here they lit small flames, candles cupped in clay bowls or fires of twigs and herbs. The light was never grand, never fierce. It was gentle, a trembling light that hid from the eyes of those who might try to silence it. Their altars were not like the grand temples of kings. They were simple, a flat stone kissed by drops of wine, a branch of oak placed carefully in offering, a carved figure worn smooth by the touch of many hands. Each altar was a memory, a place where the heart of the people still lived. In the cool dark of these caves, their voices rose softly, not in shouts or chants, but in whispers, prayers like lullabies, hymns no louder than the rustle of leaves. Their words flowed like streams underground, steady, secret, and pure. They prayed for safety. They prayed for children yet unborn. They prayed that the old ways, the sacred ways, would not fade into silence. It was said that when the flames burned low, the smoke curled upward in the shape of birds, spirit birds, carrying the prayers beyond stone ceilings, beyond the hills, into the stars themselves. And those stars listened. Each spark of light above was thought to be a witness, a keeper of memory. The women spoke to them as to old friends, as to guardians who had always been there, patient, watchful. The mothers of these hidden shrines carried within them the strength of generations. They knew that even when the world outside sought to scatter belief, a single flame was enough to hold hope alive. They taught their daughters to weave charms from herbs, to lay offerings in flowing water, to touch the earth with reverence before planting seeds. Nothing was wasted. Every act was sacred. Every breath was part of the prayer. Sometimes the caves filled with the smell of burning sage or sweet resin. The air shimmered with warmth, and shadows danced upon the walls. In those moments, the women felt that the unseen spirits gathered among them, drawn to the soft light. They felt the presence of goddesses long honored, of ancestors long departed. The flame was a bridge, a doorway, a thread tying their world to the one beyond. One tale speaks of a valley where an altar was hidden beneath a great stone. The mothers would roll the stone aside under the cover of night. revealing the small space where offerings were kept. When they lit the flame, the valley seemed to breathe with them. Owls watched from the trees. The wind softened to listen, and the stars grew brighter, as if leaning close to hear the prayers. Another story tells of a cave where drops of water fell steadily from the ceiling, striking stone like a slow drum. Here the women sang in rhythm with the water. Their voices, low and gentle, wove into the sound until cave and song were one. Those who entered after them swore they could still hear the hum of their voices lingering, like echoes of devotion carried endlessly through stone. These altars, though hidden, were not forgotten by the land. Even now, in places where ivy covers stones and moss hides carvings, one can feel a strange calm, as though the air remembers, as though the roots of trees still carry the memory of soft footsteps, of whispered prayers, of small flames burning against the darkness. The mothers understood something simple yet eternal, that faith need not be loud. It need not be carved into towering temples or shouted into the wind. Faith could be as small as a single flame, guarded by gentle hands. Faith could live in silence and still be unshaken. You drift with them now. Imagine walking slowly into the cool breath of a cave. A small bowl of fire glows ahead, lighting the stone with golden light. The air is damp, but the flame is steady. Around it sit the mothers. They sing, their voices like water flowing. Their eyes are calm, their hands folded with care. They are not afraid, for they know the flame belongs not to them alone, but to the ages, to the stars, to the unseen. The fire hums softly. It is small, yet it warms the entire space. The shadows it casts are long, swaying gently like branches in the wind. In this place, time slows. The worries of the outside world dissolve. Only the flame matters. Only the prayer matters. When dawn came, the women would return to their lives. The caves grew silent. The stones cooled, but within each of them, the flame continued to burn in secret. It lived in their hearts, carried through every word, every touch, every act of kindness. They needed no temple walls, for they themselves became the temples. They themselves were the altars. And so their work endured, not through monuments of stone, but through memory, through spirit, through the soft persistence of love. For every hidden flame lit in silence, another star shone brighter above. And even now, as you rest beneath the night sky, you may feel the echo of their prayers carried in the wind. Let the thought be gentle, that no light is ever truly lost, that even the smallest flame, hidden in the quiet, can guide the way through the dark. The mothers of forgotten altars knew this truth, and they lived it with every breath. Their voices are gone, yet their presence lingers, like soft hands resting upon your shoulders, like a lullaby humming through the night. The stars return. The hills sleep. The caves breathe quietly beneath layers of time, and still the embers glow. So now let your spirit rest as theirs once did. Rest with the comfort that the flame continues. Rest as the earth folds around you like a mother's arms. Rest as the night carries you deeper, softer into dream. Let us drift onward. Let the flame guide you. Now rest as the stars return. Night has deepened. The world is hushed, resting beneath a sky of endless stars. The air feels still, like the pause between heartbeats, like the silence before dawn. You drift gently through this dream of time, where centuries fold together as easily as petals closing around the heart of a flower. In this place, past and present are no longer separate. All moments breathe together, and within this breathing the women of ages return. They step softly into view, not as shadows but as light. Each one carries her flame, her prayer, her story. Some come from deserts where the sun burned golden over sand, some from mountains veiled with snow, others from groves of oak, from temples of marble, from valleys where rivers sang. Though their lands were far apart, though their tongues spoke different words, their hearts shared the same devotion. They are gathered now in a circle that has no edge, no end. See them in your mind. A circle wide as the horizon, each woman standing with calm grace, her hands lifted, her eyes softened by moonlight. Their garments shift like waves, flowing from linen to wool, from silk to woven grass, each fabric carrying the scent of its homeland. They are priestesses, mothers, daughters, healers, dreamers, guardians of flame, weavers of songs, mothers of memory. The goddess Selene walks among them, her silver hair falling like rivers of moonlight. Her sisters of the night bow their heads as she passes, and the stars shine brighter above. Hecate stands at the crossroads, her torches glowing steady, guiding souls between the realms. The maidens of her hidden paths step forward, their whispers trailing like incense. From the Celtic groves come women crowned with oak leaves, mistletoe resting in their hands like blessings caught from the sky. Their chants are low, their voices like the hush of wind moving through ancient branches. Across from them stand the keepers of desert shrines. They bring the warmth of fire, the fragrance of myrrh, the patience of stone worn by sun. They carry water in clay jars, offering it as life to the circle, reminding all that every river flows from the same hidden spring. The mothers of forgotten altars rise, carrying bowls of flame that once burned in caves and valleys. Their light trembles but never fades. They join the circle with steady steps, their presence quiet yet strong. Beside them come the dreamers of the far seas, women who sang to the waves, calling upon spirits of tide and storm. Their voices weave into the circle, soft as lullabies, carrying the rhythm of the ocean's endless breath. And among them are those whose names were never written, whose stories were whispered only in the wind. Yet here they are no longer hidden. They are part of the eternal circle, their place as sacred as any queen, any priestess, any goddess. The circle grows. It widens until it feels as vast as the night sky itself. Each woman holds the hand of another. Between them flows a current, like water moving in a stream, like blood through the veins of the earth. This current is their devotion, their strength, their quiet love. It moves without beginning, without end. It is eternal. In the center of the circle burns a flame, not a single fire, but a weaving of all the lights they have carried through the centuries. The torches of Hecate, the silver beams of Selene, the embers of hidden caves, the hearth fires of mothers, the sunlit sparks of groves and deserts, all merge into one golden flame. It rises without heat, without harm, glowing gently like a star close enough to touch. The women bow their heads toward it, and as they do, the flame reflects in their eyes so that each one seems to carry a star within her gaze. The circle begins to move, slowly, gently, like dancers swaying in rhythm with a song too ancient to name. Their steps are soft upon the earth. Each motion is prayer, each turn is blessing. Their voices rise, not in one tongue, but in many, layered together like threads in a tapestry. Yet the sound is harmonious, tender, like a single lullaby sung from many lips. It flows around you, weaving peace into your spirit. The air is filled with their presence. The scent of wild herbs, the hush of ocean waves, the coolness of stone caves, the brightness of desert fire, all meet together here, mingling into one breath, one memory, one dream. You drift with them now, standing at the edge of the eternal circle. You feel their calm wash over you, like gentle waters lapping at the shore. They do not ask you to speak, only to rest, to listen, to receive. For in their circle every soul belongs. Every life is honored, every dream is held with care. The circle is eternal because it is more than gathering. It is the very pattern of life. Daughters become mothers, mothers become ancestors, and still the circle turns. Each new generation carries the flame forward, weaving it into their own time, their own world. Nothing is lost. All flows onward. The women knew this truth. They did not fear silence, for silence too holds prayer. They did not fear darkness, for even in darkness the flame glows. They knew that faith, love, and memory travel like rivers, sometimes seen, sometimes hidden beneath earth, but always moving, always returning to the sea. As you drift deeper into this vision, you see the circle widen again, stretching beyond land and sea. It touches the mountains, it touches the deserts, it touches the oceans and the stars. It becomes a circle of the cosmos itself, vast and endless, eternal and kind. The divine women stand as its guardians, their presence shining like constellations, their voices carrying through time like wind through leaves. The stars above seem to lean closer, as if joining their circle too. For the circle welcomes all, earth, sky, fire, water, spirit. All are held, and so you are held as well. Your heart rests in their embrace, your breath moving in rhythm with their song. No burden remains heavy here, no fear lingers long. Only calm, only stillness, only the eternal flame glowing softly in the dark. The night deepens once more. The circle continues, endless and steady, but its song grows quieter, like a lullaby fading into dreams. The women step slow, their torches dim to gentle sparks. The great flame lowers until it glows like an ember, steady and peaceful. One by one, The women lift their eyes to the stars and you feel them merging with that endless sky. Not vanishing, but becoming part of it. Their circle is the constellations, their prayers the winds, their love the hush that guides you into rest. The circle remains eternal and unbroken, and you too are part of it now. Your spirit rests among them. Your heart glows with the same flame, so let yourself drift onward. The eternal circle holds you. Now rest as the stars return.